Chosen one, recognize that you have crossed a definitive line where just the mention of your name brings magic and strange encounters, leaving people spooked by the immediate shift in the atmosphere whenever you are brought up. Your name has become a vessel for a power so concentrated that even in rooms you have never entered, the mere sound of it creates a ripple that alters the frequency of the space and pauses the breath of those who speak it. But you will lock. Before we move forward, sit with the mechanics of what I just described. Most people hear your name carries power and receive it as a compliment, as motivational language designed to make them feel good. That is not what this is. This is a real phenomenon actively happening around you. And the reason it matters that you understand it as real is because real things have real mechanics. Real things can be understood, directed, and intentionally amplified. A compliment fades when the conversation ends. What you are carrying does not fade. Your name has been spoken in awe, in envy, in admiration, in frustration, in conversation, in prayer, enough times with enough emotional charge behind it that the momentum around it is now self-sustaining. You do not have to do anything extra to keep it moving. It is already moving. The only question is whether you will consciously add to that momentum or continue letting it build on autopilot while you remain unaware of what you are carrying. When your name is spoken and something shifts, when an opportunity surfaces, when courage arrives out of nowhere, when a breakthrough happens right after someone thought of you, that is not coincidence, that is the activation of a signal. Your frequency has been broadcasting long enough and consistently enough that people who have genuinely encountered you carry a kind of tuning fork inside them. When your name strikes the air, the fork vibrates, and when it vibrates, it unlocks something that needed unlocking. Not because you directly gave them anything, because your example reminded them that unlocking is possible, that movement is available, that what looked permanently stuck can shift. You are walking proof that things can change, and proof, spoken aloud, makes the impossible feel less impossible. That is why people are spooked. Not because you did something to them, because you reminded them of something they had almost stopped believing. To understand the power of where you are standing, you have to honor the ground you crossed to get here. There was a season, you know the one. Nothing you touched worked the way it was supposed to. Not because of lazy effort, not because of poor intention. You were showing up, staying faithful, working consistently, and the results still refused to match. You were pouring in and getting almost nothing back. You were planting in ground that seemed completely dead, and the silence from every direction was so loud it developed its own weight. That season carried a specific kind of heaviness, the kind that does not stay in your circumstances, the kind that seeps into your identity and makes you ask questions quietly in the dark that you would never say out loud. Is it me? Am I the problem? Was there something fundamentally wrong with my direction, my choices, my worthiness for the thing I keep reaching toward? That doubt was not weakness. That doubt was the test. Not the circumstances, the doubt, because the opposition was counting on that doubt to do its work for them. The pressure did not need to destroy you directly, it just needed to stay heavy enough, long enough, that you would fold yourself small and stay there. You did not fold, you bent, you had hard moments, but you did not fold. And that quiet, unannounced, unseen decision to keep going, that is the seed that everything else grows out of. Remember that, because this entire journey returns to that seed at the end. Here is what pressure does when it meets something that refuses to break. It does not destroy, it forges. It creates something so dense, so compressed, so structurally transformed, that the rules that applied to the softer version no longer apply. The same material takes up less space, but carries exponentially more weight. That is what happened to your name in that season. It got forged, it got dense, and density is what makes something capable of things that softer, untested versions could never do. When your name enters a conversation now, it does not float in lightly, it lands. People feel it land. They register something they cannot always name, but the feeling is undeniably real. What they are feeling is the compressed weight of everything you went through, everything you chose, everything you survived and built without an audience. They are feeling the authority of lived experience without knowing that is what they are encountering. That weight is not a burden, it is authority. Real authority, not assigned by title or granted by position, but built through actual cost, is something that cannot be faked, bought or borrowed. And the moment your name carries it, people feel it before you say a single word. You are not strange, you are weighted. There is a profound difference between those two things. If this resonates with your inner knowing, hype this video to help fellow chosen ones find their way here. The choice you made in that hard season was being counted, not by people. People were not watching. Something larger than people was watching, the governing system of the universe, which does not miss a single entry. Think of it this way. You were making deposits into an account you could not see and could not yet access. The account was real. The balance was growing, but it stayed locked until the forging was complete, until the pressure had done what it was designed to do, until what was being built inside you was finished. When people in your circle during that season mostly had no idea what was happening. Some of them felt slightly more comfortable in their own stagnation because at least you appeared stuck too. A few of them, the ones we will name properly later, were already circling, already sensing that something valuable was being created, already positioning themselves to be close enough to benefit when the account finally unlocked. But here is the truth about how divine economics work. The longer the lock, the larger the payout. The longer the pressure, the richer what emerges from it. The harder the season, the more potent the frequency waiting on the other side. Your name was accumulating power, silently, invisibly, in ways you could not perceive from the inside. And when the season broke, when the shift finally came, what was released was not just relief. What released was force, a frequency so concentrated, so dense with the record of every choice, every cost, and every faithful act made in the dark, that the atmosphere itself began responding to the sound of you. That is when the strangeness started. That is when people began getting spooked. Someone who knows you is in the middle of something hard, a decision they cannot make, a situation stuck well beyond the point of logical explanation, and in the middle of their frustration, completely unprompted, your name surfaces in their mind. Someone brings you up. Something they encounter reminds them of you, and in that moment something shifts. Maybe clarity arrives like a key turning in a lock. Maybe the courage they have been missing suddenly becomes accessible. Maybe an opportunity appears in the exact space where the obstacle had been. The connection between your name and that shift is clear enough that something in them registers it. They pause, they sit with the moment, and they reach for an explanation they cannot quite find in ordinary language. That is what being spooked looks like. Not fear, not superstition. It is the encounter with something operating outside the rules that person thought governed reality. When something works that had no business working, when something moves that had every reason to stay fixed, it catches people completely off guard. Top to Paul, will your beeply up to? Want the pain will beeply up to? Want the bekuft? Want hun cordum plebdava not cum jate? Waffentum fluisic space? Want pinges and bekuft to it? Want up your fear bitumens and scuffs? You already know the attacks weren't random, and if you're paying attention, you can feel it. Their walls are closing in. You've also noticed something else. A lot of Chosen One channels on YouTube have gone quiet, videos removed, voices pushed off the platform. The mainstream media is cracking down on us, but we will not give up our voice. So let's talk about what we're doing about it. That's why I built Destiny Engine. And when you join, you're not just supporting your favorite channels, you're also fueling your own rise. It's a 360 win. It generates personalized sequences that help you rewire betrayal into transcendence, turn isolation into sacred power, and transform their downfall into your rise. We are using the dark elite's own weapons against them, taking their declassified consciousness technology that programmed competition and scarcity and repurposing it to serve cooperative intelligence. The beauty is you don't even have to lift a finger. You put on the headphones, press play, and your subconscious is rewired while your enemies collapse under the weight of their own lies. Their own lies. The wart of their own lies. The mouth of the nuptuilar. Of nice sinking clays of cloud be covered. Catches underway. Start your destiny engine for $7 today and watch divine justice accelerate in your life. Link in the description. Now here is where it gets specific and important. The shift people experience when your name comes up is not generic. It is shaped by the particular nature of your record. The kind of breakthrough that follows the mention of your name corresponds directly to what you built your record through. If your record was built by surviving against impossible odds, your name tends to unlock belief in others who are up against impossible odds. If your record was built through radical generosity in seasons of lack, your name unlocks something in people around giving and trust. The magic is not random. It is precise. It is you, your specific journey, your specific choices, reverberating outward into the lives of people who needed exactly that frequency. That is why the strange encounters around your name have a consistent quality. The same flavor of unexpected keeps showing up, because it is the same source producing it every single time. What is God with you are? You will not witness most of these moments. They happen without your presence, without your awareness, often without anyone reporting back to you. But the encounters are real. The pattern is real, and the pattern is building something in the world that has your name on it, a growing body of evidence, a testimony that more and more people are beginning to notice and connect. What is God with your name is becoming a reference point, a proof of concept. A before and after that people reach for when they need evidence that the impossible is reachable. You did not plan that. You did not campaign for it. You simply lived with all of it all the way through, and that was enough. These are the people who noticed your magic before you did. They clocked it, studied it, tracked the pattern, and they made a deliberate decision. Access to what you carry is what they want, not through genuine partnership, not through earning their own frequency, through proximity, through extraction, through strategies that look like connection on the surface but function like a slow, quiet drain on everything you spent a long season building. Here is how you recognize them. These are the people who only surface when they need something. The warmth activates on demand, specifically when they are in lack and believe you can fill it. Outside of need, you barely register to them, but the moment something is required, a favor, a connection, a boost, a miracle, suddenly they are present, saying your name like it is the most natural thing in the world. What keeps you open to this dynamic is not naivety. It is your genuine goodness, your care for people, your instinct to give. They have placed a calculated bet on your kindness working against you. They are counting on the idea that you will confuse being drained with being devoted, that you will keep giving because you have not yet learned the difference between generosity from real overflow and depletion dressed up as relationship. The moment you start distributing your energy carelessly, answering every pull, responding to every performance of need, you feel the cost. The heaviness sets in, the slowdown is real. The sense that something which used to flow freely has become sluggish is a signal worth listening to. That signal is not a spiritual problem, it is a boundary problem, and boundary problems have direct solutions. Your name is an asset. Assets require stewardship. Not everyone who knows how to say your name has earned the right to call on what it carries. Beyond the active extractors, there is a softer version of this that is harder to name. There are people who simply orbit you, who attach themselves loosely to your proximity without contributing to what your name actually stands for. These people mention your name in conversations as if the connection is far deeper than it actually is. They absorb the warmth of your frequency without ever generating any of their own. This is not malice, it is a kind of spiritual dependency dressed in the language of association. But the effect on your signal is the same. Dilution, not destruction, just a fuzziness, a loss of precision. Clean your atmosphere with intention, not confrontation. Assess honestly who is in genuine exchange with you and who is simply parked nearby collecting what they did not build. Your name is too important right now to carry passengers who do not belong on this journey. Not the passive orbiters or the quiet extractors, the active opposition, the ones who did not just want to use your energy, the ones who resented its very existence. They went into spaces you never entered and constructed a version of you built from lies, partial truths, and twisted context. They gathered audiences of people equally afraid of their own power and performed for them at your expense. They said your name not to summon anything good but to try to cancel what your name had become. That from all the sort of things told you Kasepa from out of the powered for you to the toldus from up in you. They expected to collect their moment, the laugh, the validation, the brief feeling of superiority, and walk away completely clean. But here is what they did not account for. Your name now exists inside a system of divine accounting. Every word spoken against you without cause generates a bill in the name of the person who spoke it. The universe does not offer refunds on that transaction. The settlement does not always arrive immediately. The patience of the system is one of its most misunderstood features. But the settlement always arrives. You have watched it happen without needing to engineer a single piece of it. The ones who came hardest for you are quietly dealing with circumstances that do not make logical sense to them, plans falling through at the last moment, situations destabilizing without obvious cause, things shifting in ways they cannot trace and cannot control. They do not always connect what they are experiencing back to the choice they made against you. But in the quiet of their own lives, some of them feel the weight of what that choice set in motion.
Weren't willing to bath that vision what we think that suffer too?
It is expensive to come for a chosen one. That lesson is being learned. Every time your name was brought up in a negative context, it was introduced to people who had never heard it before. Some of those people felt something when the name landed. They got curious. They looked into who you actually are. And what they found was completely different from what they were told. Some of those people became the most genuine supporters you have, not because you recruited them, but because the opposition sent them to you while trying to send them away. The opposition was the outreach campaign, and it cost you nothing. You cannot build a lasting wall around a name that the atmosphere is actively promoting. The people who were never assigned to determine the direction of your name cannot stop what is already moving. Dot, 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 everything. This is the revelation the entire journey has been building toward. Be still for this one. Dot, the dot. Magic is not supernatural in the way most people mean that word. It is not some external force that attached itself to your name by accident of birth or timing. It is not luck. It was never coincidence. The magic is the compounded weight of who you chose to be, accumulated across every decision, every act of integrity, every quiet faithfulness, becoming so dense over time that it started producing results that look miraculous to people who never watched the work being done. Dot, 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 dot. Not fate, not favorable circumstances. You built this through choices made when choosing was the hardest and most expensive option available. dot 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 dot. Each one was slow, invisible and unacknowledged, made while exhausted and uncertain, with no guarantee of outcome. But it was a brick, and brick by brick in the dark, while opposition circled and doubt pressed and no applause came, you built something real, a structure, a record, a frequency so dense and so honest that the universe now checks it every time your name enters the atmosphere, and every time the check comes back, the answer is the same. This one is owed. Move something for this one. That is the magic. It is the consequence of your choosing. It is the return on an investment you made in yourself, when every reasonable voice around you said, stop investing. And here is what this revelation changes in a practical sense. If you built it, you can build more. The record made the magic. More record means more magic. You are nowhere near the ceiling of what your name can carry. You are at the beginning of understanding what you are actually working with. Dot, 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 dot. The documented, lived, irrefutable evidence of what happens when someone commits fully to something real without any guarantee of outcome. Your proof disrupts their doubt, the way light disrupts darkness, not violently, not dramatically, just completely. Doubt cannot survive contact with real evidence. It simply cannot hold. Your name carries evidence. That is what people feel when it reaches them. Not a trick, not a supernatural anomaly. Proof. And as your record continues to grow, the proof becomes denser and more undeniable. What currently causes a pause in people will eventually cause a full stop. What currently feels like a ripple moving through a moment will become a wave. The people who are experiencing the strangeness will stop merely feeling something. They will know something, with a certainty that bypasses logic entirely and lands directly in the gut, in the chest, in the part of a person that processes truth before the analytical mind has a chance to weigh in. They will know this name means something. This name has been through something and came back carrying something real. That is what you are building toward, not just success, undeniable evidence. Least of the road, that unhanfapausen about of kines. Here is where we shift from understanding to action. Knowledge without application is entertainment. You did not come this far for entertainment. You came for the upgrade. The first move is this. Stop being surprised by your own power. Stop apologizing for the way things move when you are involved. Stop minimizing the wins and qualifying the victories. Stop scanning every good thing that arrives for a hidden catch. That reflex served a purpose. It was a survival mechanism from the hard season, protecting you when the floor kept dropping. But the floor is not dropping anymore, and you are still bracing for a fall that is not coming. You are allowed to win, cleanly, completely, without immediately catastrophizing or waiting for the universe to reclaim what it gave you. Dole, the second move. Stop letting other people define your name in spaces where you are not present, not through anxiously managing narratives, not through tracking every conversation. That is survival energy, and it costs more than it ever protects. The definition your name already carries in the atmosphere is too structurally solid to be overwritten by people who were never authorized to write it. Your actions are consistent. Your character is documented. Your record is established. A whispered redefinition does not have enough structural foundation to stand against what you have already built. The third move: become intentional about what your name stands next to. Every project, every partnership, every association that carries your name is an entry in the public record of who you are. Some entries will add to the record's authority, some will dilute it, developing the wisdom to tell the difference, and the discipline to act on that wisdom is part of what keeps the magic clean, directional, and growing. Walk into every new situation already knowing who you are, not wondering, not quietly auditioning for approval, knowing. The confirmation is already in the record. You carry it with you, and when you enter a space settled in that knowledge, without needing external validation to feel real, people feel that settledness. They pick up immediately on the quality of someone who does not need the environment to confirm them, and that quality is itself a form of the magic. People who are always performing need a constant audience. People who are genuinely built need nothing but the opportunity to operate. You are built. Move accordingly. Be ready, because it will feel faster than you expect. What you put out is about to come back in a ratio that does not follow standard arithmetic, not matched, multiplied. The formula is ancient, and it works every single time without exception. Give from genuine overflow, not from fear or obligation or the pressure of someone else's expectation, and watch what the universe does with it. Give your real gift, the full power version. Not the polite, diluted, careful not to take up too much space version you have been distributing in seasons of uncertainty. Give from the place of having enough to move freely, and when you do, something in the economy of the spirit shifts. What flows through you stops being a drain and becomes a current. You give from the current, not from the reservoir, and the current replenishes itself faster than it moves. This replenishment shows up as currency, as opportunity, as connections that energize instead of deplete, as doors that open without requiring you to force them. Expect the return to arrive in forms you did not design. The universe has never been obligated to package your harvest in the container you built for it. The return does not always come through the avenue you were watching. Sometimes it comes through a connection you almost dismissed, through an opening that initially looks too small to matter, through a moment that does not feel like the breakthrough, but quietly turns out to be the hinge that everything else pivots on. When something unexpected surfaces and there is a pull toward it, a warmth, a recognition, a sense that this matters even before you can explain why, pay attention to that pull. It is not random feeling, it is your frequency identifying alignment before your logic has had time to catch up. Here is something specific to understand about how your name operates during this season. Even in spaces you never personally enter, when your name is invoked and something good is set in motion, the credit returns to the source. When your example is shared and it unlocks a breakthrough in someone else, when your name is spoken into a situation and the situation moves, the record counts that return. Every good thing your name sets in motion, regardless of whose voice it traveled through to get there, registers back to the account you built. Your name is working for you in places you will never go. That is not a small thing. That is what it looks like when something truly real has been built, when the structure generates returns independently of your direct daily effort. Here is something the hard season made difficult to see clearly. The current season is bringing it into sharp focus. Not everyone in your life is an extractor or an opponent. There are people who are genuinely there, people who match your energy, who bring something real to the exchange, who celebrate your wins without a trace of resentment, who are honest with you when honesty costs them something. who push you toward elevation rather than pulling you back toward whatever version of yourself was easier for others to manage. These people are worth more than you are currently treating them as worth. The hard season blurred the lines. You held on to familiar connections because history and affection made it genuinely difficult to see what the exchange actually was. Some people who were draining you received extended grace because they wrapped the drain in the language of love or loyalty, and that language was convincing. But the current season has a cleaner light, and in that light, the difference between who gives and who takes becomes unmistakable. The people who are genuinely for you, you feel it immediately. You leave exchanges with them full instead of hollow. You feel stretched towards something better rather than managed towards something smaller. You feel known rather than used as a resource. Look toward those people with intention. Protect those connections actively, because the next level is not meant to be built in isolation. The people who are genuinely aligned with you will grow in proportion to your growth. Your magic does not just bless you, it elevates everyone in honest alignment with you. That is not accidental. That is the design of what you carry. One dromedritor rebelladon. There is one more distinction worth making here. When someone who truly belongs in your atmosphere speaks your name to others, to recommend you, to vouch for you, to tell your truth accurately, the quality in how they deliver it is different from everyone else. It carries something real. It carries the specific confidence of someone who has seen you operate up close and knows exactly what they are endorsing. When your name leaves their lips in those moments, it lands with a weight that the people receiving it can feel. Train yourself to notice that difference. As you develop that discernment, you will naturally orient toward the people whose words about you carry genuine weight, because those words are rooted in genuine knowledge. Those people amplify your frequency without distorting it. What they say about you adds to the record. They are, in the most practical sense, co-builders of what your name stands for in the world. You are not at the peak. You are at the inflection point, the moment where the investment begins producing visible returns, but the account is nowhere close to its limit. Everything you add from this point forward, every entry you make from this new posture of knowing, compounds at a higher rate than anything that came before, because it comes from a positioned person, someone who knows what they are building. Someone who is adding to the record deliberately rather than just surviving and hoping the record sustains itself. The strangeness people experience when your name comes up is going to keep escalating, not because something external is growing, because the record behind the name is growing. And as the record grows, the responses it generates grow with it. The encounters become more frequent, the shifts become more pronounced, the whole phenomenon becomes less deniable to everyone experiencing it, and eventually to you in ways you can no longer talk yourself out of. There will come a point, it may have already arrived quietly, where you stop needing external confirmation of what your name carries, where the evidence becomes so consistent, so layered, so present across your actual lived experience that the confirmation moves from the outside world to the inside of you, where you no longer wait for the world to validate the power because you can feel the power operating in real time, right in front of you. The internal knowing is the final lock turning. What is the moment you fully arrive, not announced, not celebrated by anyone external, not granted by any authority outside yourself, simply known from the inside, with complete and unshakable certainty, that you fundamenteel your aanpare the earth trust in the wife, the nation van toppen the reputation matter of one inotidorod. Legacy, the real kind, is not built at the end of something. It is not a final chapter or a summary written after everything is finished. It is built right now, today, in the choices you are making in this season. Every interaction where you show up with full integrity and full presence that goes into the record. Every time you hold your standard when the situation pressures you to lower it, every time you refuse to be pulled into a diminished version of yourself by opposition or convenience, that goes in too. The record is live, and the record is building something with your name on it that will outlast every attempt ever made to contain it. The person who said your name and felt something shift does not know what you went through, does not know the season, does not know the record. All that person knows is that when your name hits the air, something happens. And that person is going to keep saying it, keep being fascinated by it, keep being a little spooked by it. But you know, and knowing changes your posture entirely. The next time someone tells you that your name came up and something good followed, receive that without deflecting. Do not minimize it into coincidence or redirect the credit somewhere it does not belong. Deflecting those moments is not humility. Deflecting is a refusal to honor the record, and the record deserves to be honored. Everything you went through to write it deserves acknowledgement. Receive the testimony, let the evidence land, let the strangeness be real. Let what your name produces be what it actually is, the real result of a real record producing real outcomes in the real world. Because now every choice you make is a conscious entry into that record. Every time you choose integrity, it goes in. Every time you give from genuine overflow, it goes in. Every time you show up at full power instead of filtered and apologetic and small, it goes in. The record keeps compiling, your name keeps charging. And the next time someone says it, in any context, with any intention, from any direction, the atmosphere checks the record, and the record says the same thing it has always said, louder every time it is asked. Merlin, this one is owed. This one was faithful. This one built something real. Move something for this one. Merlin, this is your name. This is your frequency. This is your magic. Walk like you know it. Build like you mean it. Give like you have enough, because you do. Let the record speak, because it will. Let the harvest come, because it is already growing. Chosen one. The mention of your name moves things. It always has. The difference is that now you know it. And knowing that is the most powerful development in this entire journey. The seed from the very beginning, that quiet, unseen refusal to fold. Look at what it grew into. Look at what it is still growing into. Every day you show up and build, the record gets richer, the magic gets louder, the name gets more powerful, but is not the end of anything. That is the beginning of the part where you move on